Welcome back to round 4 of Kharak Cup number 3. It's been a little while since I casted. I was on vacation in the desert. Maybe you saw my Reddit post, but that's alright. Just wandering around, getting sand in my shoes. Wonderful stuff, really. Anyhow, this is going to be an exciting match. This is the last round of the single elimination bracket. So currently these two players are both undefeated. And after we cast this round, we're going to go down to the elimination bracket and see the people who had gotten knocked out. As they'll fight each other to the death, essentially. It's going to be Greippi versus Garmilator, and that's why this is going to be exciting, because these, of course, are two of the best players in the game at the moment. Garmilator, of course, the man to beat right now. He's won the past 2 tournaments, and he's really shown himself to be quite a competent coalition player, one of the best, if not the best, in the scene at the moment. Greippi, however, also pretty terrifying. He was more around, like, not during launch, but a little bit after that. I think about, like, 4 or 5 months after launch he kind of showed up. Maybe I'm wrong about that. It's been a while. Point is, he's very, very good. We haven't seen him for a while. He just dispatched of Tren with relative ease. Really good player as well himself. So we're excited to have him in this tournament as well. I still don't know how to pronounce his name, but that's fine. And he's going for the Sport Cruiser first build. Garmilator, meanwhile, going for his LAV opening. Which is interesting to note, actually, because like when he played Discara, for example, straight into AAVs, right? I don't think he made a single LAV there. Maybe he made one to like shoot down probes and stuff like that, but that was it. If he even did. Whereas this time he's going more into LAVs. So it's an interesting twist from before. He might be doing it to counter-strat for this particular map, because we know it's the shallows. It's an easy map to defend, and so maybe he's thinking, okay, Greippi will probably go Sport Cruiser first, because of course he would. Maybe I can catch him off guard, actually, by kind of switching things up a little bit. We'll have to see if that's the case. Maybe my predictions are just wrong as usual, but, you know, it'll be interesting to see. His probe did spot this base runner running off here in the corner, so if he's trying to be sneaky with this thing, it's not going to work, it seems. He does a pretty cool drifting move over there. He's going to see Support Cruiser over there with his probe, which tells him everything he needs to know. That means if he wants to do damage to these LAVs, now is the time. Greippi, however, going for AAVs. They're going to be finished in about 35 seconds, so I really feel like these LAVs are not going to be able to have any kind of effect on the map, really, other than maybe zoning off the space runner, but, I mean, it's already way over here, you know. Greippi's kind of handled that for himself. So, you know, just that defensive nature of the shallows coming to play here. Like, if this was another map like Torrent Crater, having 4 LAVs on your opponent's doorstep is actually kind of a big deal, because they could run in there and start, you know, pushing people off of that second base, which basically means you don't get the economic benefit from it. But on this map, nothing of the sort can happen. Garmilator, seeing it, is going to build a Support Cruiser now, but that is going to put his economy significantly behind Greippi's, who's going to have his second base up about a minute earlier, it looked like, as he goes for railguns. This base runner here has actually snuck in. It's quite interesting. I rather felt like Garmilator had a good hold on it, like he knew where it was. He's almost certainly planning on putting a turret down right over there. But these LAVs are going to find it. That should be the end of that one, especially because the carrier's right here. I don't think there's really any way that this base runner is going to get much done. Where's he going with it? It's just on a mad run across the map. I mean, I doubt he's going to try to put a turret down here. If you already know the base runner's going to die, you know, it doesn't really do you any good. Garmilator now has already put down his first turret here on the way to the extraction zone, and he's trying to extract now, so this LAV is going to see it but not die. Excellent micro there from Greippi, although that is somewhat easier with LAVs than with sand skimmers because your sensor range is bigger, but still, that's not easy. And yeah, that means that this base runner is definitely going to extract. The base runner from Greippi could have put down like a turret right up here somewhere to try to like stop the extractions from, in fact, like right there. I think it would have gotten high ground, but that is no matter. No matter at all. I love the engine sound of these LAVs as they drive right into a gorge. Well, he's considering it anyway. Yeah, look at this. Oh, don't worry, it's just a cliff. Another Support Cruiser from Greippi going crazy on the eco right there. And maybe he'll get punished for it, because there are railguns coming out now for Garmilator. One singular railgun anyway. Not as scary as I thought, but The probe does get taken down, so that's a good pickup there from Greippi. And he's on his third base. So, I mean, the general rule, I guess, if you had to say for DOK is basically like, if you can expand, you do expand, you know what I mean? Because, like, money is important, obviously. If it is safe for you to do so, you do it, basically. And, right now, it really doesn't look like Garmilator's been able to threaten at all. It doesn't look like he's been able to shut anything down, and so Greippi's just gone ahead and taken third base there. And Garmilator is going to get his up. He's about halfway down in the support cruiser right now, but still a pretty good economic lead to our man over here, Greippi, who is now going into fighters. And that's always pretty spicy. Looks like that LAV got taken down, yeah? Didn't catch that. My apologies. But yeah, fighter and gunship fabrication nearly finished now, getting more carrier production actually, which makes sense, of course. He's on 3 bases, he can support that. Oh, he's going for 4th base. You monster! You monster! He's more greedy than a capitalist, man. Anyway, coming from a guy living in America. So, anti-air coming out though from Garmilator, so he is cognizant of this idea. Another probe gets sniped there. Just one LAV snipes a probe, you know what I mean? It's usually a pretty good investment when you're against coalition players, just to get that probe, just to get a little bit of scouting on the map. I mean, you notice these two players, they've known almost exactly where everything on the map is for their opponent this whole time, you know what I mean? That's just so impressive. Like, you don't get to see this in lower levels of play, but these two players are not going to be surprised by anything. They know exactly what's coming out. Really makes it more of a special thing when someone gets surprised by something, you know, because, like, you know that it's not easy to do that. Now Garmilator, to his credit, is getting that sport cruiser too. He wants to go for that aggressive macro style as well. And he's going for a little bit of a push down here on this side. Perhaps he doesn't know this carrier. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter. What can the carrier do at this point, right? Although, you know, having 3 strike fighters in it would help, yeah? And he's going to smoke it up immediately. Here come the strike fighters. Not going for those... No. Just having a little bit of a conniption there, but they are going to go for it. LAV gets sniped down over there, so a little bit of scouting denied for Garmilator. That's always nice. And 2 railguns go down. And the turret. I mean, these, you know, like strike fighters, probably this other turret going to go down as well. Strike fighters, like when you first switch into them and your opponent isn't ready for it, it's a big deal, you know. They can have a huge impact, like just like on that early stage of the game there. And now there are 6 of them especially. I mean, that's a lot of strike fighters. Coalition Air Tech showing its powers here. However, there is a sport cruiser, 2 sport cruisers in fact, both with anti-air. LAVs are going to pick off the second ones. That's 2 strike fighters down now. Pretty big losses, all things considered. Oh, another one enters into their range, gets taken out. But look how many he's built. Greippi, oh my goodness. You trying to go full wing and snipe his carry? This isn't 3v3, man. That's crazy. That's some pretty significant Air Force, though. It's going to make a big difference on this game. Power Reserve 3 coming out for Garmilator. 2 just now finishing for Greippi. That poor probe, all he wanted to do was see what was going on. He just wanted to get front row seats, instead he got shot in the face. I'm kind of confused why Garmilator put another turret down there. Maybe he meant to put down the AA turret, just because it seems like the other turret was just going to die there, you know? It's kind of an odd choice. Right, well there are 4 support cruisers out now for Garmilator. He doesn't seem to have any interest in taking his 4th base here. It's important to note though, his opponent has been mining quite happily off of 4 bases for a while now. I really feel like, you know, there's been no compensation for Garmilator other than killing a couple of strike fighters. Oh, don't go in there. Ooh. Ooh. Anyway, there's been no compensation for Garmilator other than getting a couple of strike fighter kills, which is nice, but mining off of 4 bases like he is, Greippi is going to have quite the economy. Pretty soon we're probably just going to see him start just overwhelming his opponent with numbers if Garmilator can't get something done here. I mean, he has been spending it all, so probably on these strike fighters, honestly. But Garmilator going for another extraction here, but that's most certainly going to get shot down, I would have thought. Greippi also going for his extraction. Looks like he wanted to get a second, but it was cruelly snatched away from him. these strike fighters are going to guarantee that this doesn't go down. He's using a support cruiser to shield his railguns. I really enjoy that. Shield it from these strike fighters, of course. And they kind of try to find an angle into it, but that's going to be difficult. And they see these AAVs see they can't engage here, they prop down the smoke. And actually, Garmilator also able to stop the extraction from Greippi. Who's floating 1600? Yeah. Garmilator, wow. That's a big float there, I wonder why. The Space Runner also taking pretty heavy damage. I mean, there's a sizable number of railguns there. Let's see, Garmilator researched missile ship fabrication, didn't he? No, wait, no, that's tied to AAVs, isn't it? I should really... Wow, that turret was... that carrier was spinning like a madman. Anyway, I should really get a bit more familiar with the Coalition tech tree, but... Anyway, Power Reserve 5 coming up for Garmilator. That's the big one, as I always say. Probe gets shot down over there. Poor probes. Always getting styled on. And you can see many support cruisers, many railguns, LAVs, carrier. I mean, this seems like just exactly what he did against, what's-his-face, against Descara. There you go. But crucially this time, look at this. His opponent's getting more railguns than him. And I imagine that's just going to be the moral of the story here is Greippi has more units because of how many bases he's got. He's just been completely uncontested here. I mean, like, if Garmilator could figure out that this base was here, he could just run in with these LAVs and just kind of take it out, you know what I mean? It would be a lot more difficult for Greippi to hold this area as well, which he would have to do. But I'm going to say, oh, the strike fighter gets taken down there, and they're kind of dangerously close to those support cruisers. But one thing Greippi has done an excellent job of, I was trying to say, is that oh no, it's gonna get all these railguns. Actually, okay, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Anyway, he's done a very good job stopping the scouting from Garmilator, so he doesn't get to see that this is here. He doesn't get to see, you know, exactly what's going on the map, and so it's difficult for him to make these calls like that. Anyway, the cruise missile was a bit of a whiff, did a lot of damage to the carrier, obviously, and actually that's not getting healed, which I really don't like. He's powering up the armor, looks like he just wants to heal it using the armor system, but I don't know about that. At any rate, Greippi's cruise missile, is now finished. And this looks like rather an awful clumpage over here. Cruise missile right there, boom. Perhaps Garmilator could dodge it, but it would be difficult. And he sees it. Oh, I would have thought he'd target it right there. But no cruise missile being launched just yet. Perhaps he's just confident he can take it with his railguns. He doesn't even need that cruise missile. Was that a cruise missile launch? No, it was lightning. There was lightning on this map. These strike fighters just running into their deaths. Oh, more of them getting launched. Please, don't go in there. Cruise missile gets launched now. And it's not particularly good, although it is going to score this support cruiser, but I think, crucially, Greippi's kind of driven a wedge into his opponent here. His carrier's getting forced off in this direction, and his eco is all over here. I think that qualifies being between a rock and a hard place, I'm not sure. Interesting to note that Greippi's power distribution is a bit different than we're used to seeing. He's got it all on healing, which I don't think I've ever really seen before. These LAVs chewing up the strike fighters, which is always nice to see. Support cruiser anti-air claims more victims. I really don't know why these strike fighters were launched. They've all just kind of died. But yeah, mate, you gotta get your carrier healed. Just put it all in armor, you know, and then it'll be healing as it's on the way back. And then you get like a support cruiser. I'd love to see him just build a support cruiser. I feel like he's got enough resources. Oh yeah, he definitely does. Maybe he's at full supply cap, I don't know. But I mean, the danger is, you know, a second cruise missile is finished now for Garmilator. If he launches it on there, carry's super low, right? It's really important when you're in these kind of cruise missile versus cruise missile scenarios that you try to, you know, get your carriers, like, get them healed up after they get hit, because otherwise you're going to be in a world of hurt when the second one comes out, and maybe you just die right there. And I feel like Garmilator could win that way. There could be some kind of horrible fluke where he kills his opponent's carrier right here. That would be the only way he can do it, though, because this force here... Oh, it's a cruise missile on the railguns, but they're going to dodge it. Excellent dodge there. I don't know how cognizant that was, but it almost looked like he baited that out, but I'm sure that's not the case. Anyway, he dodged that very, very well. Wasted the cruise missile from Garmilator, and now it looks like Greippi's got basically no contest in here. He can move in freely, doesn't even have to worry about anything. He can launch a cruise missile onto the carrier to secure the kill. I think he's just going to get a carrier kill right here. I don't think there's really any way that Garmilator's going to be able to pull back out of this one. Not even Ren can save you now. Targeting salvagers, of course. You want to click on that one. I'm sure I've talked about this before, but the railguns auto-target salvagers for some reason. I wonder if that's something we can change in the balance mod. Probably not. Carrier's beginning to take damage now. Carriers take a lot of damage to railguns. Doesn't take long to kill them. And once he gets down below about half health, cruise missile is going to come out, and that will secure the game. In fact, I see it launching. I see it launching on the carrier. That comes. Oh, Hans, look at this! Oh, it's a miss, but it's still very good. Killed lots of rails. Wait, what? Oh yeah, it died. Okay, the replay just ended. I was like, what the heck? Yes, his carrier did die. I wonder why it didn't explode like it normally does. Basically, it's at 0 health though, so that is going to be the game for Greippi. Very well done. Just, you know, got super greedy with the economy and it worked out. You know what I mean? Wall Street over here, man. Garmilator really just not being able to threaten that at all, you know. And if you let your carrier have that much economy, you'll lose. You know what I mean? Like that's what'll happen. In fact, if we look at the economic scoreboard over here, you know, just check out the stats. You will see the sad tale here. Like 6,000 more CUs, or we'll set 5,000, I guess. But still, that's, you know, that's oh math. That's 50 LAVs. You know what I mean? Like that's a big deal. I mean, I think it's clear to see from this table right here why Greippi was able to win that. I feel Garmilator went for, I don't know, he went for more units rather than eco in the early game, which is fine, right? But then you got to do something with it, because if your opponent goes for eco instead and you let him get away with it, this kind of stuff will happen to you. Certainly not to say that this was a low-level match or anything, but I do think Greippi just kind of had a pretty easy win there, all things considered. But yeah, let's move on now to the elimination bracket, shall we?